listening to the Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technological advanced silhouette decoys on the market. And Vortex Canada, the force of optics.
Hey, everybody. Oh, yeah, we got him back. We've got the sexiest man in First Lite, the sexiest waterfowl content manager in First Lite. We got him. And you know what? No big deal. This is his third time on the show, so it's no big deal. The rest of you can all hate all you want, but we got them. So episode 123 of the Union 0430, we are joined with Mr. Logan Williamson from First Lite, the waterfowl category manager. We got Philly coming to us tonight. Philly is all excited. He's been out shooting some geese and got into some mallards. And he's been rubbing it into me just a little bit because I haven't been out the last week or so. So, you know, I'll go kick him in the nuts. I'm going down to Oshawa literally just to kick him in the nuts.
I shot my first Ontario duck today.
Yeah, which is crazy. Which is crazy.
Shot a shit pile in Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
shot my first one in Ontario today.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the weather patterns and all that shit as we get on through the show. But Philly's coming to us from outside of Port Perry, Ontario. Logan's coming to us all the way from Ketchum, Idaho, the headquarters of First Lite. I did want to talk about this flagship store that you guys got there too, because that looks pretty sick, dude. But we'll get into that as we go. But Logan, buddy, thanks again for coming on. I know it was short notice. I only asked you yesterday if you'd come on, and you cleared up your schedule and come and hung out with us retrobates for an hour.
Well, I appreciate you making it sound like I have a social life. I actually did not have anything going on this evening. It was perfect. I was like, great. I get to hang out with these guys and not be alone with my thoughts. No, but it was great. It's always a fun time jumping on with you guys. And it's been too long since I've talked to any of you individually, personally, but certainly since we've done this. So thanks again for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, you know, like it is, and this is what Phil and I were talking about before you jumped on, is that like, pretty much everybody is into their waterfowl seasons now, like north of the border and south of the border. Everybody's into it. So you guys must be running around like a bunch of chickens with your head cut off at the office right now, because like I see it, like if you follow social media and you follow the First Lite socials, but then there's these First Lite buy and sell groups that there's just gear that's just moving. Like fellas will order something and it's not fitting them the way they want, so they're selling it in order to get it up at a size and stuff. And it's just gear overload that's just flying all over the place. So congrats to First Lite right off the bat, because it must be crazy busy and everybody must be in a good. I'm guessing that there's not many sad days in headquarters right now.
Well, you know, just like anyone else's jobs or industries, you know, we have, in season, we have our busy season. And what's unfortunate, and something I'm sure you guys can relate to, is being in season for work and being in season for your pursuit. And, you know, that's something we've actually been dealing with since Archery Antelope in the office. Archery Antelope opened here in August. And so from August until now, everyone's just been hitting the mountain, hitting the trails. Finally, though, big game season starting to wind down, and just in time, the migration, the ducks have just started to show up here in Idaho. So we timed it pretty nicely. It was nice of the ducks to do that for us, just to wait until deer season got over before they decided to come on down. But weather's looking good. I mean, it's been about 12 degrees in the morning down here, so it's been chilly. Those birds are definitely coming down from Canada and making pit stops. Sun Valley is a nice little spot for them, especially just south of Valley. We're right where the desert, kind of this oasis right where the desert meets the mountains, and it's a good spot for ducks. Holds a lot of ducks annually, and then just a really good pit stop for those migrators.
That's Awesome. So
You know, when the migrators show up, because we actually start killing ducks, all the local ducks, and they know the program. They they do one flyby and they're like, yeah, whatever, loser. We see you guys.
That's the same spread you had last year, asshat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, go for Philly.
I'll say it's funny. Since I've been back from Saskatchewan and then did the Punisher camp, like I have not hunted any of my fields around my parts until yesterday. And I took a coworker out yesterday and his young lad just to watch, and we got our 10 geese, and like they were all heavies. They were resident birds, not a single migrator. I go out this morning again, same field. I only shot 2 geese, again, big heavies, and the one mallard that I did shoot was fat.
Oh yeah,
like armor plated,
nice,
fat and green. But again, all the Canadas, all big heavies. No little baby chickens. Nothing from James Bay. No lessers. Nothing.
Well, yeah, like it's still weird, man. Like the birds that are shown. So Jason Sear and I were fixing up a piece of property that we're hoping we're going to be able to hunt it late season. We were out for a sit down the other day just to watch. We had wood ducks still dropping in, and I mean, you have never. Philly, I'm telling you, you have never seen this color of a wood duck because usually this time of the year, they're long gone out of Ontario.
Oh, yeah.
They're not hanging around. And now, buddy, it is probably the prettiest thing I've ever seen. The colors are just amazing. So it's really weird, Logan. Like up here, like we've just started to get our cold weather within the last week and a half. Up until then, we're like, we're hitting, 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well,
I appreciate you doing the conversion for me before saying that.
Well, today's Wednesday. A week and a half ago, it was like 21, 22 degrees here in Port Perry.
Yeah. So which is
probably
69, 70.
Well, it's gotta be higher than that.
Yeah.
I started to Google it.
Close to 80.
No, 21 degrees is like 70.
Yeah, like I was out in a t-shirt cutting my goddamn lawn.
Crazy.
Because the grass just keeps growing.
And I'm getting good at this Fahrenheit conversion thing. And it's funny because I done a video the other day. It was the video I done for the on compadre jacket.
Yep, I was very impressed. Very impressed with the on the fly conversions.
And this guy wrote me and he was like, "What the hell is this metric crap that you're talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, but it goes to show." Like I looked at the analytics of the show today. Over the last, I think it was 20 days, there's been almost 1,000 downloads from south of the border, and just 300 in Canada, right? So I can't do the miles. I still can't do miles to kilometers, but I'm starting to work on the temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius.
1 to 1.6.
Okay. That's
1 mile.
If you say so, Phil.
1.6 kilometers.
Okay. So tangent number 1's off the books. Check. Put that one in. So
let's talk about some gear.
Yeah, let's talk about some gear. So I know I brought up the On Compadre jacket, which isn't a true waterfowl product from the First Lite line, but I was telling Phil about it because Phil's got a jacket, and he's like, the same thing, right? He's wondering about layering, the colder seasons coming in, and I'm telling him, right? I'm like, well, the refuge jacket is out there, but that's a heavy jacket, or not a heavy jacket, but
it's heavily insulated, super warm.
But for late season, like this time of the year, I'm saying to Phil, I'm like, listen, you need that Uncompadre jacket as your mid layer, and he's got the furnace and he's got the kiln, so I'm like, kiln, furnace, Uncompadre, and then your shell on top of it, and you're golden, right?
Well, I promise we didn't plan this way, but it's honestly something we just put up our mid-season and late season waterfowl kits on the website. So for everyone listening, go over to firstlite.com and check out our mid-season, late season waterfowl kits. But the Uncompadre plays such a huge role in those kits, honestly. So we really have the waterfowl system broken up into 3 categories, and it's really like 3 layers. You have
Mhm.
performance knits, which is Origin, which is our synthetic kind of wind blocking fleece, and then all of our merino. That's really your first layer. And we
Yeah.
know that when you're setting up decoys, when you're dragging sleds, when you're super active in the morning, right, you don't want a lot of outerwear on.
That's right.
You know, that's what you're going to wear so that you don't get super wet and sweaty. And then though the transitional outerwear is what we call it. And this category includes Uncompahgre, Brooks Down, Catalyst soft shell. What those are outerwear pieces that for the mid-season work great as outerwear pieces when worn on their own. But when the weather starts to transition into, we call it transitional, because as the weather starts to transition into the colder months, into the late season, all of a sudden you have a couple different options for these pieces that were already in your kit that you were already wearing for the mid-season, and we fit them underneath our waterproof outerwear in the LZ shell and the Refuge parka. So really it's extending the seasonality of your LZ jacket and your Refuge parka. It's giving you something to wear when you leave the house to the blind. Or the best part about the Uncompahgre jacket and the Brooks Down vest, those fall into a category of transitional outerwear that we like to refer to as packable insulation. These things pack into your blind bag like very, very easily. And especially the Unk jacket, which is huge in Western big game for just a packable glassing jacket when you're freezing your tits off on the top of a ridge. This jacket is perfect. It lives in your blind bag. And then when the weather gets really, really cold, it layers perfectly. It's designed to layer perfectly under your heavy waterfowl specific waterproof outerwear. So those pieces are just as important to the line as anything else. And honestly, you know, I've said it on previous podcasts. One of the stepping stones that we had to getting into waterfowl was that we had already made so many parts of the system that works absolutely incredibly for waterfowl. And so we knew we just had to, you know, to get a good start in the category and to give the waterfowler everything they needed. We knew that we could boil it down to about 5 core waterfowl specific pieces, knowing that we had this strong foundation of merino wool and transitional outerwear to layer with underneath and to help you prepare for different temperature and activity levels.
I think that's and to play on that, like that's what we're seeing right now. Like as we're traveling around, and Philly can attest to this, like as we're traveling around now and we're doing our bits and holding our camps and stuff, we're seeing more and more fellas wearing First Lite gear. But we haven't, except for Nate White is the only person I've seen wearing the friggin' Refuge bibs yet, because he's only 110 pounds soaking wet.
I had mine on today and yesterday.
But we're seeing all of these. We're seeing all the fellas that are actually layering and building up to their systems. So now they're at that outer, what I called the mid layer, which is the I call it a mid layer because it will be my mid layer at the end of the season, right? So as the season goes on, you're seeing a new piece of kit, right? So at first it was just the Kiln hoodie you were seeing at opening weekend, then it pushed on to the Origin. Now you're starting to see the Uncompahgre jackets and stuff, and the Brooks Down vest, which I've worn pretty much
noticed.
I've worn the Brooks Down like every day right up until I got the Uncompahgre.
And I mean, honestly, and that gives you a reason. You know, those pieces are so versatile across so many seasons, and when they pack into nothing like they do,
absolutely,
and it's something you can bring with you anywhere. So when the temperatures call for it, you can bring them out.
So, I guess without stating the obvious, the Waterfowl lineup has been a huge hit for First Lite this year. Like this is the first year where a dedicated waterfowl line has been established by First Lite, and by all accounts, it looks like it's been a huge success.
Yeah, well, thank you. We appreciate you saying that. I mean, the optics are everything, especially from across the border from you all, especially as we try to really, you know, the waterfowl space it's an old school space. I mean, we think about how long, especially just apparel, speaking to apparel, how long Columbia owned the space with fine gear, with good gear. But again, it's not one, you're not going to earn the trust of waterfowlers easily. I think that a lot of our customers are not first-time First Lite customers. I think that they are First Lite customers that have forever been like, man, if you guys, made waterfowl gear, I would love that, because I would wear it too. But I think that is going to shift as we move into year 2 and year 3, with not only the expansion of our product line to cover other categories, but just moving forward. I believe that we are, as we get more grassroots penetration, we start to meet the waterfowlers on their level, sponsoring calling competitions, showing up in Easton at Waterfowl Festival, or, at Stuttgart at Wings Over the Prairie, just starting to make our presence felt. And, it has to be authentic. It has to be genuine. We look at the history of different brands in the outdoor space that if you want to move into a new category, you can quite easily buy yourself in. You can buy yourself clout. You can buy yourself the influencers. You can spend a ton in marketing dollars. And what I do really like about us, and it is something that Kevin from the very get-go cautioned us against, was continuing to be authentic. And so when you see our first duck series last year of Duck Made, it's not following influencers and doing specials on influencers. It's doing specials on the guys in our office that helped to build the product, that had an influence on us and a culture. And it's us being us. I mean, you guys saw Casey's Duck Made. That's so First Lite. It's,
you know what? I wanted to send Casey a message, or ask somebody, like, was there any preparation into those PPDC LWX? And then he would just click that off just as fast as he could say those letters. And I was like, man, if he's doing that off the top of his head, that's impressive, because he's
quick. He's quick. I'll give him that. Yep.
But yeah, no, buddy. I think you're 100% right. I think, and it's not just waterfowlers, and I think waterfowlers are an extremely hard group to impress. But I think it's across the board with all hunters, especially this day and age, because I think not to play on the First Lite model, but to go further and stay longer, right? You're seeing more and more and more of that, where the 20 somethings and the 30 somethings, that's their gig now. Like they're headed out, and they, for lack of a better term, they're athletes, and they're athletes now that need, everything needs to work for them the way that they need it to work in order for them to be as successful as what they measure success on. Right. So I agree with you that a lot of your customers on this year's waterfowl lineup has been past First Lite customers, and it was just a natural progression to move over to the waterfowl line. But next year, I think you're going to see a lot of people not dipping their toes in. I think you're going to see a lot of people cannonballing into the pool and starting to drink that First Lite Kool-Aid, right? Because
we certainly hope so.
Well, you guys are being smart about it, right? You're not rushing products. It's taking the time to test them, to wear them, put it through its paces, and then it always blew me away. And I've said this to Dave and Phil a number of times. The first time we met you, and when you guys were saying, well, in 2022 we're doing this, in 2023 we're doing this, we're starting to look at 2024 now, and I'm like, shit, yeah, I guess you really do need to look out 2 and 3, 4 years in advance, in order to make this all work.
Absolutely. And like I said, I mean, we had to start somewhere, right? So we picked the most essential pieces that we had that would make a whole complete system, and a very good system at that. And now that we take what we learned from that season after season of wear testing, but we also look to where we can fill in the gaps and the major needs. And I can tell you, if there was one resounding comment on our social media when we launched the waterfowl category, it was, where are the waiters?
The big question.
Buddy, it was everywhere. And where are the waiters?
And the waiters are getting ready to go into production right now for launch in 2023. So we're super excited to show you guys and show the world. Honestly, I've been very, very fortunate in my career just to work with, a lot of talented designers and bring a lot of cool product to market, but hands down, bar none, for myself and our super talented designer, it is hands down the most technical, next level product we've ever had a chance to create, let alone bring to market. I mean, some of this stuff you prototype in an innovation lab somewhere and it never sees the light of day because it's just not commercially viable. And we've really brought it home with this one. So not to overhype it, but the hype on this product is as real as it's ever been.
Well,
I don't know how much you can say about said waiters, Logan, but are they like early, mid, late season, breathable, neoprene?
I can tell you they're breathable. I can tell you that much, Phil. I can tell you that they're breathable, and it's really telling the same story that we were just going through about then making sure that we have the right transitional layers to make that a full season piece. And so some of the other pieces that you will also see coming in 2023 will help to support the layering story with the waiter as well.
That's awesome. I know I've been sending you messages over the last 6-8 weeks, and I'm like, hey, so the waiters, what about this? And you know what, Logan, buddy, I gotta give it to you because you're like a fucking bolt. Like, I cannot get anything out of you, and all I get is, don't worry, ours will be better. Don't worry. Yeah, I've seen that. I know what you're talking about. Don't worry, ours are going to be better. Ours are going to be better. And I'm like,
it's like squeezing blood from a stone.
Nah, he's good, man. Well, and ladies and gentlemen, before we hit the record button, Logan come on and he was like, hey fellas, what's going on? And we were like, oh, good, man. He was like, oh wait, I gotta go move some stuff. So in the back of his room, if you're watching, we're underneath that picture, there was just a pile of kit and boxes back there, and he went and moved them. So he never even let Phil and I get a sneak peek at what's behind them. He got rid of all that stuff right away. So it's exciting because I don't know, as a waterfowler, like, we are gear centric. We are gear centric people, right? Like anything, like shit, man. Anything
we're just fucking irresponsible with money.
Well, there's
that's really what it boils down to. I actually have the research and statistics to prove it.
Yeah, we're just irresponsible. Let's be honest.
I have the research and statistics. That's good to know. That's good to know. Now I do know that so right now this year everything's coming out in the Taifa pattern, which is, you don't know, buddy, how many people have said to me, I don't know about this Taifa pattern, but then when they get standing next to me and they actually see it up close and not a picture of it or a video, but when they're standing next to me, you don't know how many people say, man, I'm digging this. And really, they like Logan McNulty, our buddy that helped pull off that a goose camp that we had. He came to me after the first morning. He was like, man, I am really digging that pattern, and I didn't think I was going to like it. But I'm really
it's good. It's good to hear that, and it is different. I mean, as waterfowlers, we do get stuck in our ways too. It's been the way we've always done things, and that's how I do it. So, that's all understandable, but we really wanted to change the game.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And moving forward. And so it is different. It's different from what you've seen. But
absolutely.
If there was one resounding, if there was a common response and all the polling we did of guides across every flyway, because it's really important to make sure that this thing is versatile for every, field and marsh environment that you can. You'll always hear a guide tell a client that there's a dark hole. I can see your dark hole. There's a dark hole in the pit. There's a dark hole in the A-frame.
Yeah.
And that's what, the birds can see. Obviously, you got to cover your face and, be cognizant of that moon pie. But at the same time, you know, it's the dark holes, especially you can notice dark color blocking even more obviously in timber, believe it or not, in deer. So when you're looking at, you know, some of the whitetail gear across the industry, not ours, but they like to use color blocking to try and break up the pattern, and it looks really cool. But the moral of the story is that when you use that dark blocking, you turn into a dark blob. And something that we need to be ultra aware of when we're waterfowl hunting is that the way you know, ducks are seeing you, you know, a whitetail is not going to see you from 200 yards away and then continue to stare at you every step of the way as he closes that distance. Ducks are going to see you as well from 400 feet away as they are, you know, 20 feet away from you. And so the visual disruption that needs to occur at that distance of 400 feet also needs to happen, you know, at 20 feet. And so getting that perfect balance so that you're not a dark blob when the duck sees you from that far away, honestly, it's going to help you stay more concealed against ducks. And again, we all know how important the hide is. You absolutely, there's nothing to that. But what happens when you're out retrieving something in the middle of the river and you're just standing there, right? Or you get caught outside the blind because, you know, you had to go take a leak, like, and you have to do the huddle. You know, and you just try to cover up, and you know, that's where it really makes the difference. Or the time when you're hunting small water or backwater, right? I mean, we hunt locally on the creek here, and you don't have an opportunity to bring in an A-frame or a pit blind or layout blinds. I mean, you're paddling into these small spots, and you're shooting a couple ducks a day, and that's just the way that we get after it. But I mean, honestly, that's the way you know, a lot of guys are getting after it. I think back to some of the small waters in Michigan that I grew up hunting, and it's a lot of the same way. You don't necessarily have the opportunity to bring in all the blind building materials that you would like. And so it's for those instances, you know, it's for not only blending in with your hide well, but in those instances where the best hide or the ideal hide that you would like to have isn't available, this is going to give you the edge. And honestly, the visual disruption from distance to way up close that you need to have happen to fool the duck's eyes, because otherwise their vision's just too good.
Yeah, absolutely. So so with the waders, because everybody cares about the waders, and I want to beat this to death. So Taifa, but I do know, and tell me to shut up. Well, I think I know, but tell me to shut up. There's a new camo pattern coming out in 2023, correct?
Yep. And I honestly, as natural of an extension as waders was for us, I believe that a timber camo pattern was next in line for us as well. And what's funny is that this is actually a great segue, because as we were just talking kind of about that visual breakup that you need to have happen from a long ways away to up close, that's driven by having a very light background and then having these large macro shapes that hold up at distance and help to break up your silhouette from a long distance, from a long ways in. Well, we know from hunting the timber, this is happening at a lot more intimate ranges. So macro breakup is super important. You know, these macro breakup elements, large shape disruption is important from, you know, from distance. A micro texture and our micro breakup elements of the timber pattern were a lot more important. And especially when you look at some of the things, you know, you look at tree bark, you look at the fine textures that you're going to find in those flooded timber environments. And it was just more important that we focused on micro breakup for the timber camo versus more the macro breakup for, you know, a marsh or a field pattern where those birds are going to have a line of sight from a long ways away.
Yep. No, absolutely. It makes a ton of sense. It is a much more intimate hunt. Not that I have a ton of experience hunting timber, but it is a lot more intimate. Birds are really in your face. So those micro.
I will say too, though, not to just obviously it is a timber pattern. When we tested it, when we developed it, I mean, we lived in Arkansas the entire season just to make sure that we got this thing right. But Understandably so. The distribution and the use case for a timber camo pattern is much wider spread than just the Mississippi alluvial valley
Absolutely.
floodplain. I mean,
Absolutely.
anyone who is hunting lake shores, anyone who is hunting open water for divers, anyone who is hunting river bottoms. I mean, that is going to be your go-to pattern. I mean, you know, even some of the ponds that you find yourself brushing up, I could make an argument for. Seriously, the other day we were sitting in a blind where Typha, I mean, honestly looked so incredible. I mean, we couldn't have made it look any better. And another one of us had on a cast jacket, and we were just looking at it still. And even with the brush that we had piled on top, we were like, yeah, man, that doesn't even look bad in this environment too. So the versatility, I mean, honestly, the versatility, you look at some of the, you know, the most successful timber camo in the history of the world in mossy oak bottomlands. And, you know, that versatility is very important. And so, and I think that sales in the space have really shown that. I can tell you, you know, I see our competitors timber camo in places that has absolutely no business being. So we actually tried to make it a little bit more versatile than our competition too. Because again, we wanted to improve upon what was already in the market when we did this. We didn't want to just, you know, make another camo pattern for the sake of making, you know, our own camo pattern. And really, honestly, we're not going to make a product. We're not going to make a camo pattern unless we truly believe in our hearts that it is the best thing in the market, that it is giving a new advantage, you know, to our customers. Otherwise, we're just not going to do it. Sometimes ideas start out. Sometimes we get all the way down the road, we sample it, we wear test it, and you know what? Before you know it, we're like, this isn't doing it. This isn't better. This isn't a step forward. And we just give it the axe, you know, and sometimes that happens, but it's for the best. It's the best thing for the product. It's the best thing for the customer. And honestly, it's the best thing for the waterfowl industry in general. I wish more people would get to the end of their development cycle and be like, no, that's crap. Let's not do that.
Well, and that's a testament to you guys. Not that I've ever sat in on a board meeting, but just, you know, from what I do know, you guys don't rush anything. Everything is very, very deliberate. And well planned out. So when you say you put the thought into it, I believe it, because I just know I don't know it 100%, but I have a very good idea of what the process is now, and talking with you and Kevin and learning a little bit about it. You guys are very deliberate in everything that you do. So, I can't wait to see this timber.
Absolutely. It's going to be really good. And honestly, I don't want to turn this into a shout out. I actually hate how we're just shamelessly promoting all of our product right now, but I'm going to use the opportunity if you're going to give it to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the best part has been working with the group, and just to come back to when you look at our first content that we released this last year, and it focusing on the guys in our office and telling their stories. And you know, it honestly, it took an army to do it. And you know, I'm fortunate to be kind of on the front lines of that, but at the same time, it you know, it took everyone. And that's the beauty of it. You know, it's the beauty and the challenge of waterfowling, because everyone hunts their waters just a little bit differently, huh? Everyone's corner of the country looks just a little bit different. And so making sure that we take in all of that feedback and listen to everyone, because even if you hunt a crazy kind of way, and this is how you pack your kit in and do the thing, like we want to hear it. And because honestly, it's just going into the pool here of everyone's feedback. And honestly, what we've tried to do is make something that works for everyone. And that is a dangerous line to walk, because what can happen is you end up making a jacket that, for example, that does a whole bunch of things like, okay, and
but not
doing a couple things like really, really well. And I'll stand on this soapbox and tell everyone listening that this shit is the best. It is the best.
Well, you know what, Logan, and I want to get Phil in here, because I have to admit, I don't own this piece of kit, and Phil for the last 2 months has been fucking driving me nuts talking about this ground control pack. And I want to give him the opportunity to talk about it as somebody that's using it, that's hunting with it. I want to give him the opportunity to talk about it because I've heard it, and I want everybody else to just hear how happy he is with it.
Well, happy, Phil, before we start, happy, and two, if there's anything you don't like about it, I don't know, maybe don't tell the world about it, but you can tell me after. But no, we're super stoked that you were able to use it, and even more that you're having, a real positive experience for it. But I'd love to hear, and I was actually just talking to Damien about this yesterday, of like, just really honing in on something that that hasn't been done before, something that we're doing differently that you really liked. Are there any specific features you've never seen before, or specific features that, maybe we are doing a little bit better than what you've seen in your experience?
So this very much came about as like legit a right time, right place scenario. Coming out of our last waterfowl season, I was looking into, okay, like, it'd be nice to get like a waterproof backpack, like if I ever go, like, if I'm doing like a photo shoot for someone and like I'm not hunting, like I don't want to bring like my hard case. It'd be nice to have like a backpack I could put my lenses in, my body, maybe some snacks and stuff and whatever, and take that out with me to go do said photo shoot for someone, like on a hunt or whatever. And then I may have had the privilege on a hunt with some guys from the US that brought some gear up to Canada that I may have got to see firsthand prior to being released, and completely and utterly fell in love. So when the ground control got released, it was August?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was legit on the market.
Phil knows the date it came on the market better than I do.
Yeah. I can honestly say I probably got the first one in Canada.
Hell yeah.
I believe it. I believe
should
it.
have sent you a certificate or something.
Yeah. A sticker will be happy.
All right, we'll see what we can do.
But honestly, like, next to my guns and my camera, this is hands down probably the best kit that I own.
Wow, that's really awesome to hear.
The ability to lay it on the ground and like and again, like what you guys push on your YouTube videos and such, like, that's 6 inches of buffer. Like I went to Saskatchewan first week of October. I used this bag as my carry-on the airplane, and had like it was jam full of shit, like all my camera gear, some other nonsense, whatever. And again, because of its size, it was amazing as a carry-on piece. And then it acted as my blind bag for the duration of the hunt out west. Getting a full-size camera body with battery extender on the body, the 24 to 105 f4, the 70 to 200 2.8, plus like hat, gloves, toques, 2-3 boxes of ammo, a couple snacks, my calls, all this I could fit in it, non-issue.
Billy, how hard is the case?
I want to say it's got some durability.
You're not going to stand on it, but
no,
it's a solid enough platform that you could put your camera on.
I would, like, I'm putting $2,000 worth of camera gear in this thing, and I have no qualms about it.
No, I mean, like, if you put it down on the ground, if you needed a base for your tripod or for your camera body to take pictures, it's a solid enough base for that. Yeah.
It'll hold weight.
Okay.
100%.
So the sidewalls, just to kind of put it in perspective, the sidewalls of the bag are a 600 denier. I mean, like heavy duty stuff. That's then a double TPU coating, and then that's laminated to 1,000 denier ballistic fabric. So the sidewalls are very thick, and then there's an internal padded divider system that again, I mean, I don't suggest using this as a pinata, but if you were to have your $2,000 camera in there and hit it from the side with a baseball bat, I would like to believe that your camera would be okay for maybe one swing.
So it's got the shock properties of being dropped. Like, let's say falls off the tailgate of a truck. It has.
I think the shock is not probably a good measure of the performance of this bag when Philly talks about durability. It is padded on the inside, and not only does that padding provide protection to super valuables, like, I mean, honestly, Phil, your camera system is probably the most expensive thing anyone is ever going to carry in this blind bag. And to hear you say that, as a camera guy, you know what I mean? Like, not a cameraman, but a guy who's always going into the marsh, into the field with a camera, that you trusted to protect your bag. I mean, we modeled it off of camera bags, kind of for that reason, but also because just that the loose organization that you can have on the inside, the protection that the foam gives, the foam dividers give everything, and then the foam dividers also make it super buoyant. So unless you have this thing loaded down with 50 plus pounds, it is going to float and keep that zipper above the bathtub and keep all of your stuff inside watertight.
And even when I was out west, the shoulder straps, they were tucked the whole week. Because
Gotcha.
we were fortunate, where we were hunting out west, there was no walking. We literally drove to where we were sitting. So the ability to be able to tuck these straps in this back section and just to get these out of the way was awesome, because again, everything was right by this handle, which is a godsend. I
love to hear that.
Also, dude, I could spend an hour of a show talking about this bag. I kid you not.
I fucking believe it, because I've been hearing about this goddamn bag ever since it got it. Yeah, I gotta get one.
And again, and if you go on the First Lite website, you have the ability to buy the Molly system stuff, there's the shell holders, the water bottle holder stuff. If you're into that, they're weaved on both sides.
I'm a big fan of Molly.
You might have had some past experience, or nightmares.
Yeah, no, I have, and that's I have experience with Molly, and I love it. I love it for that.
Furthermore, for walk-ins, the big heavy duty strap here. If you want to throw a dozen decoys on there on Texas rigs, or you're walking out and you want to throw your duck strap on there, that'll hold it. And then even on the top,
it's a good thing you bring that up, Phil. Not to interrupt you, but we did. That was one of the things during wear testings that did fail. Was that loop, the carabiner loop, the gear loop, was ripping off under pressure. And now I definitely do not recommend anyone hang from it, but it is, gosh, I think we were plus 200 pounds of pull strength.
She's been reinforced.
Yeah, she's been reinforced. So I'm just glad to hear that, it's working that way for you, because honestly,
even like I said, this was my carry on to fly out west, and I took my LZ, and there's the strap,
the outerwear strap.
Bag. My LZ was strapped on here for the flight out and the flight home.
That's awesome.
He's talking about his LZ jacket there, ladies and gentlemen.
There might have been a photo released today of me holding a big fat dirty greenhead wearing said LZ.
Ooh.
But
rub it in a little bit more.
You know what we've
bag, you need to buy one.
Sorry, Phil. Yeah, no, I think I do have to get my hands on one of those. But I just realized that it's taken us this long. There's a huge Black Friday sale going on right now.
We do. We got the gravy boat sale happening right now. And honestly, it's a great opportunity.
Fuck is it ever?
We haven't gone, we've been very tight, promotional, sales have been so good, with the Waterfowl line, thus far, that, we haven't wanted to go promotional with it. We've been trying to protect it, and this is just a great opportunity to get some amazing gear that we never planned on offering at a discount this year, that just made it into our holiday sale. And for anyone out there who's been on the fence about trying out a piece of First Lite waterfowl gear, or just waiting for the perfect opportunity, this is it. So I would head on over to firstlite.com and check out all the awesome deals we've gotten on the waterfowl collection right now.
Yeah, it is a pretty impressive deal, and I'm pretty confident that you will find exactly what you're looking for at a discounted price, because I was looking at all of the items today that's on sale, and it's a lot of shit that's on sale right now. And you're right. Like, that's not something that, not to get a dig, it's not meant to be a dig, but First Lite doesn't do a whole lot of sales. Like, that's not their thing, right? And this here, now that this is coming up, Black Friday, and at this time of year with Christmas just around the corner and stuff, like, what an opportunity. And listen, if you're in our area, Phil's area, mine, Dave's, Mark's, if you're in our area and if you're curious about it, reach out to us, because I've got no problem coming to a hunt with you, because you're inviting me to a hunt. I have no problem coming to a hunt and wearing my gear and letting you see it up close and personal. So,
or if you find yourself in Sun Valley, Idaho, please stop into our new flagship store. In the very front window from the street, you can see the entire type of waterfowl collection placed very nicely, merchandised very nicely right in front of the store. As soon as you walk in, you'll be able to see the full assortment.
I did want to bring up the store. Not that I'm an insider and I've got a scoop on all the shit that's going on with First Lite.
I mean,
but when the store got announced, I was like, how did I not know about this store that this was being developed and the whole, and I got to tell you, the pictures and the videos that I've seen, like, whoever come up with the design to decorate that and the stage that store, holy smokes, they are brilliant.
Yep. Well,
brilliant.
Her name is Barclay, but it also took the full retail team of Dom, Keith, Mary, Hannah, everyone who worked so hard on that store to put it together.
Man, that was insane.
It's turned out better than we could have ever imagined. And it honestly, people loved coming there. I mean, it's guarded by the friendliest German short hair you'll ever meet in your life. She might follow you into your dressing room. In fact, by might, I mean she'll definitely follow you in your dressing room. So I hope you don't mind wandering eyes.
Yeah.
But it's such a, I mean, every time we walk in there, there's people just hanging out and talking about hunting, and they go in there because honestly, every single person that works, in there, Dom, Mary, Keith, that really run the day-to-day there, expert hunters, absolutely expert hunters and experts in gear as well.
That's cool.
And so just people want to go in there, and as you imagine some of the awesome retail experiences, you guys have had in your life, of just being able to go in and talk with the local guy behind the counter or girl behind the counter to just, the amount of times I walk in there and see people showing off their bucks, showing off their kills, just to the people working in this store. It's a sense of community that we really wanted to drive with our store. And it's become a destination of people wanting to pop in there and see it. And it's honestly the only place in the world that you can go to see not only First Lite, but a full slew of Meat Eater, FHF, and Phelps gear in person. All in one spot, and really see the full breadth of the assortment, and honestly have a shopping experience that is not like where retail has headed in the last 20 years, for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm sensing a Punisher Waterfowl 2023 field trip.
Well,
I've been pushing for that since 2021.
Just saying, a couple guys from Canuckistan, White Idaho, spend a shit ton of money.
Hey, we know how to kill some greenheads here, though. When you're ready, boys.
Well, I want to come. I want to time it because I want to elk hunt at the same time. So, I want to. I would not suggest that. No,
I would. No, you want to come. You want to come later in the year. No, later in the year. First of all, Idaho has terrible elk hunting. Make sure you tell all your friends you do not want to elk hunt in Idaho. There's no elk here. Steer clear.
Wink.
They've all moved.
Wink, nudge.
They've all moved to Montana.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm schooling.
I hear the elk hunting in Georgia is phenomenal
this time of year. I would head there.
They've probably got some pretty big bulls down in Georgia.
Actually, shit, I'm not even lying to you boys. After Kevin Harlander got out of the woods this year, there wasn't anything fucking left alive.
Holy fuck, man. Like talk about someone living the life of Riley. Jesus Christ.
No kidding.
That guy, and you know what? Like, you're hard to get in touch with. Kevin's even worse. Like, at least you're in the office. Kevin's never in the office.
Well, he this is the busy time, just to bring this full circle. This is the busy time of year. It's like once August starts, I feel like all of our major leadership meetings all happen beginning of August, because as soon as late August hits, everyone is go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is difficult because you do have to keep the business running. And so you can't neglect any of your responsibilities, but at the same time, no one's going to keep us out of the field either. So it's just go, go, go. We can sleep in the spring,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, boys, we're at that 60-minute mark. And I told you we had lots of stuff to talk about, and there's still a few things on my page that we didn't get a chance to talk about. But
it just means Logan's going to come back.
Well, I'm going to leave us. Actually, I'll save that for my last word. I'll give it. We'll do around the table, and then I'll give my last word as a nice plug, and then we'll call her a show. So to you, Philly.
Logan, again, absolute honor and pleasure to have you on the show again and be able to, shoot the shit. And again, like, the gear that you're putting out, dude, like, just keep it going. Like, I can't speak highly enough. Again, like the ground control bag, hands down, next to my camera and my gun, by far one of the best things I own. Well, below my dog.
Well, thank you so much for that. I can't tell you what it means to hear that coming from you guys. Anytime that we hear it from, such authentic guys that get after it as yourselves. I mean, you're who we're building the gear for. And so to hear that it resonates, in the field with you guys, and it's doing what you guys want it to do, it really brings it full circle for all of us. It's validation. It's helpful for future seasons of things that you guys like, things that we need to work on and so forth. But so thank you so much. It's humbling, hearing that stuff. It's humbling being on the podcast with you guys, coming on here, talking about waterfowl, talking about gear, letting me shamelessly promote the entire line while we do so. But y'all are just some great guys, near and dear to First Lite and First Lite Waterfowl more specifically. So we thank you. And I guess my parting words would just be everyone be safe this season. This is it's especially coming off of big game seasons in the mountain backcountry hunts. It's easy to kind of slip into waterfowl season and let your guard down a little bit. Be careful on the boats, wear life preservers, wear your wading belts. There's just been a lot of unfortunate accidents already that are starting to happen in circles as waterfowl season gets underway here. And, we're all doing this for the same reason. We love the sport. We love each other. We love being out there together. And let's just make sure that we can keep doing it from seasons to go.
Absolutely. Probably some of the best stuff ever said on the show was that last 2 minutes, because very, very true. Very true. Ladies and gentlemen, my final thing that I've got to say, and every time I talk to Logan, I'm impressed by something. But yesterday I'm talking to him and he throws out this little nugget that he's just gotten off the ice. They've got a fucking awesome rink. And him and the boys are over on their lunch hour skating, playing hockey. And I'm like, what a great little Michigan kid he is. Detroit Red Wings, fucking red blood flowing through.
Here we go.
And just, in Idaho. And you know what? I asked Logan, I said, is there a hockey community there? And he was like, it's insane. And people are fucking good. And I'm like, this is so amazing, because Idaho, not a state that we got to get an NHL team to Idaho.
Like, in fairness, where is Idaho? Right?
In fairness, I'm not sure I can exactly tell you.
It's left of Michigan.
It's left. Keep going.
Yeah,
west.
keep going. If you hit Oregon, you've gone too far.
If you hit the salt water, you've gone a little bit too far.
Yeah. But Logan, buddy, you don't know how much that warmed the cockles of my heart to know that you're still lacing up the skates.
I knew you'd like that one.
Yeah, buddy. I loved it. Ladies and gentlemen, Detroit. This was episode one. Well, they're hurting right now, but give them 2 years. I
They
think they'll
are
be
not
back.
hurting right now. I'm sorry.
Go
All
right,
Colorado.
This is for another time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe not hurting, but they're not the 2003 Red Wings. Let's
Actually, yeah, we can actually just recount like all the 90s and 2000s if you guys want to go through.
Anyways,
all
let's
this
let's end this right now. We don't need
Another
to talk
great
about
episode.
nobody living in the past here, Logan. No need of living in the past, buddy. Live in the now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 123 of the Union 0430. As always, we are who we say we are. We're not experts. We're nothing other than a group of dudes that love one another's company, talking about bird hunting ducks and having our good friends join us and carry on with the bullshit that we go on with. Big love. Until next time, like and subscribe there.
Smash the buttons.
Smash the buttons.